This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome to Wrestling with Tragedy. It is me, the dad bod god himself, the bald, the beard, and the fucking beautiful Piers Austin, joined once again by the ECW original, the kingpin, the king of the streets, Angel motherfucking Medina, and the two-man power trip, the silver tongue legend himself, the third man in on Wrestling with Tragedy, Mr. John Paz. Gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome.
First of all, that was the most horrible intro because you should have said, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, John Paz, the legend, the guy who was on TMZ for the first time ever.
Nice.
That's how you should have introduced him.
Wait, Pierce, what's going on with you? Come on.
I'm sorry.
Fired.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jesus.
My unprofessionalism showing through there. But gentlemen, we are at case 100. This is a milestone episode for us. Getting to case number 100. Congratulations, guys.
Look at that. And what a better way to do it than Big Van Vader for number 100.
Absolutely.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely.
I ain't feeling it.
Well,
here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. We're going to get into it in just a second, but let's take a quick second to thank some of those sponsors before Angel starts chipping his teeth, so to speak. But Angel, take it away.
Well, everybody out there, definitely who on a health kick, definitely check out healthvape.com. It's one of the best websites out there for alternatives for people who are into smoking the vape, like Pierce is. Check out healthvape.com. Use promo code MWAPOD for 10% off. It has no chemicals, added preservatives, and it doesn't have nicotine in it. So definitely check them out, healthvape.com, MWA promo code, get 10% off. Tell them Wrestling with Tragedy sent you. I am still sleepy. I am fumbling on my words today.
Oh, it's all good, brother. But also, while you're there checking stuff out, check out sleeps.com. That's SLEEFS, sleeps.com. This is your one-stop shop for all your athletic wear and needs. They've got armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, compression socks. They've even got headbands, mouth guards, and dirty boxes, guys. So use that promo code MWAPOD to check out those dirty boxes and all the amazing products over at Sleeps with 10% off with that promo code MWAPOD. Guys,
if you was going to do the sleeps.com, you should have just said it like Jeff Jarrett, JEFF.
Yes.
JARRET.
SLEE. Yes, I agree.
All right. What you was going to say, Pierce?
So this week, guys, we are covering off Big Van Vader, a man who had quite an amazing career. He was a great talent, a guy that had amazing athletic ability and agility for a man his size. We talk about some of the best big men in history. His name is always in the mix.
I agree. I put him number one on mine. I don't know about you guys, but he's my favorite big man of all time. And obviously throwing Andre the Giant, Undertaker, Bam Bam Bigelow, a bunch of other guys. But I feel like Vader has to be mentioned in the top tier of best big men of all time. Has to.
No, I agree. I mean, Big Van Vader was an icon back in the days. He was very impressive in the ring. He was a guy who, I was impressed when he did his moonsault for the first time in WCW. Apparently, he used to practice in a pool, but he was one of the guys who basically stood out from the rest of the big dudes doing crazy high flying moves. I mean, it's just a moonsault, but for a guy his size, it was very impressive. So
insane.
And he was intimidating, and he was. I loved the football. I don't know what he called it, but the football helmet. Football shoulder pad gimmick with the smoke coming out. That's really stood out to me when he was in Japan. So he was very impressive and very intimidating before he went to WWE.
He's awesome.
Before he went to WWE, he was WCW World Champion, but WCW back then wasn't really what WCW went on to be with Monday Night Nitro and then being in competition with WWE. Japan at the time, was probably, would you even put Japanese wrestling back then at the time at the same level as the WWE?
Oh yeah, Japanese for me it was.
Not globally because WWE's more of a name, but Japan back then, oh man, they were having bigger houses than WWE big time. They're running shows with 60,000 people regularly. running dome shows and stuff. So, oh man, they were insanely popular. You could put them on the same level, I guess, internationally, but like on a global scale, everyone knows WWE. But man, Japan was, and they had two different companies, All Japan, New Japan, killing it, and then even FMW, in early to mid '90s, were running stadium shows. So Japan wrestling, I would put it on the level for sure.
And you got to put it this way. I mean, regardless of what sport it is, a lot of people, if you're a true sports fan from soccer or football or any other type of sports, baseball and stuff like that, there's big major companies around the world. People just focus on the U.S. and think that WWE is the end all be all. But if you look at it globally, Japan at the time was like the top. If he was going to go anywhere, go to Japan, just like the movie with Tom Selleck, Mr. Baseball. I mean, you could make money in other organizations around the globe, so I think Japan at the time was the most, I see some phenomenal matches out there. I still remember the Cherry Bombs, the tag
Jumping
team.
Bomb Angels or whatever.
Jumping Bomb Angels. They were phenomenal. I mean, the British Bulldogs, Stan Hansen, he made his career in Japan. I think he was the one that popped Vader's eyeball out.
Yes. Yes.
Brody as well. Brody had a big career in Japan.
Yeah, right? So that's the thing. I think Japan was on the top level. It's just if you was a true fan of wrestling, you will know that. If you were just a fan, just locally, then you're just not a real fan. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, because you got to go over there and you got to look. You're like, okay, Kawada, all Japan, of course. Kawada, Misawa, Kobashi, all three arguably say the best wrestlers in one time in one promotion. Just insane. You had those guys and that level of talent in the promotion. Then you throw in like the Gaijins like Terry Gordy and Dr. Death Steve Williams and Stan Hansen. It's just
don't forget.
I know you hate Johnny Ace, but Johnny Ace, you throw his name in the hat over there. He made a name for himself. But still, they had so many.
Yeah. Albright.
Gary Albright. Right. Yes.
He tagged with Gordy and they had a phenomenal run.
Yep.
During that time, and that was an awesome tag team. They had some legit big guy tag teams that was just freaking phenomenal, and Vader was in the mix of those things.
Bam Bam and Vader were an awesome tag team in Japan.
Yeah, and they would never do that in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. And Steiner Brothers, of course, over there making huge money and a huge name for themselves as well. So a lot of good talent was over in Japan.
Even the Japanese Road Warriors. Forgot when he took over for.
Oh, Power Warrior, yeah, Kensuke Sasaki, yeah, he was great.
Yeah,
but the funny thing is, these guys go over to Japan, they make big money over there, but obviously when they're over there for long periods of time, being in a foreign country, away from the normality of it, going to WWE, is WWE a pay cut for them if they go to WWE if they're doing tours to Japan?
It just depends what deal you strike, man. Again, it's. Think about it like this. The biggest star in Japan might come to the U.S. and Vince might not take him as a big star, because in his world, remember, Vince only sees in Vince's world. He didn't know who the Sandman was. He didn't understand why Sandman was so popular. He just didn't get the reason. There was a lot of, like I said, Vince is in his own bubble. So he doesn't watch the other competition.
Yeah. He had no idea who AJ Styles was. Had no clue.
So he didn't see the value of them. So when they talking about money, they're like, they'll throw you some shit ass money if he doesn't know who you are.
I feel like it definitely depends on the guy. Because Stan Hansen, the Destroyer, for instance, if they came over to the States, they're probably taking a pay cut. You know what I mean? But when they're in Japan, they're getting paid. They live there. They're getting paid way great market value because they're the big draws over there. They're like the big heels or like the big draws as far as just bringing in the gates in the house, whether whoever they're feuding with, is like they're the draw. So I think if they came over to the States, maybe get a pay cut, but most guys could make more money in WWE if Vince recognizes the talent. But it does take a while because, like we said, AJ Styles, he didn't know who he was at first, and he saw him wrestle. He's like, oh, this guy's better than I thought. He didn't even know, he knew nothing about him. It's just crazy.
Yeah, Vince doesn't know a lot of people. Even gimmicks that he uses, even if he saw somebody, I don't care what anybody says, but Bradshaw is nothing but another Stan Hansen. The clothesline, all that stuff is just Stan Hansen's gimmick.
Yeah. This is DiBiase plus Hansen and J.R. Ewing is Bradshaw. Yeah. But it's funny though, Vince put Hansen in the Hall of Fame, but that Triple H or somebody suggested Hansen because I know he worked in WWF, albeit very, very briefly, and it was really a Japan show against Hogan. But it's like you could tell Vince doesn't know, or maybe doesn't know as much as he should, but he's definitely WWE bubble.
Oh, completely. And like the fact that Vince didn't know who AJ Styles is pretty laughable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
But
it's
you don't even
ridiculous.
know did he even know who Vader was, because JR is doing talent relations when he got brought into WWF. JR, obviously one of the smartest guys ever, knows everything. He had to convince Vince to bring in Mick Foley. He's like, oh, who is this guy? What is this self-mutilation guy? Who is this Mick Foley? Who is this guy? He had no idea. And he goes, Vince, I guarantee you it was great. So years later, Vince was like, you were right on that guy, Mick Foley. I knew to trust you or whatever. Like, stupid. Like, how do you not see the talent of Foley? So he knew nothing about Vader, and JR had to talk him into it. Like, he had to talk him into Steve Austin and all these other guys. And Bret Hart was like, yeah, this guy Steve Austin's really good. I've seen him in WCW. Like, let's bring him over. And of course, Vince gives him a horrible gimmick, and the rest is history with that. But guarantee you, same thing with Vader. Vince probably just saw him, like, who is this mastodon? Never seen this big guy before. Hey, pal, like that typical Vince has no clue who the guy is, but JR is the talent guy going, no, trust me, this guy he's great. Like, trust me, he's awesome.
And that's the thing. I mean, I think Vader, that's why I think, I like Vader, but I don't like the WWE Vader because he's just was watered down and stuff like that. Like I said, when I seen him in WCW Japan, when he knocked Ric Flair's teeth out, when he lost the title to Ron Simmons, those were high quality matches. I'm not saying he doesn't perform high quality matches. It's just they put him in a different light in WWE. That just made him a cartoon character of himself and kind of more of a joke. To me, a joke. I mean, he wasn't intimidating. He was just a comedic staple in the company.
When they first brought him in, though, it was almost like, okay, he got vignettes. They had the stuff in Colorado, the cool background, this friggin' monster of a man. It literally looks like a mountain. The theme music was cool. Like, okay, they're starting okay. Then he destroys Gorilla Monsoon, which they hardly ever did, where the commissioner or like the guy in charge, the authority figure, gets beat up. The only other time, which is funny, and eventually Austin would do it with Vince, but I remember Bad News Brown did it to Jack Tunney one time. It's like, wow, you never see somebody beat up the president of the company. You know what I mean? Like, Gorilla Monsoon is the president. Vader came in immediately and beat him up. So that was like, okay, they're going to do something with this guy. He beat up Gorilla Monsoon. Holy crap. And then it's like, okay, he feuded with Yokozuna, who was like way out of shape, and like, okay, that's almost like a downgrade. And then Shawn Michaels eliminated Vader, like, which is crazy, from the Royal Rumble. Him and Yokozuna at the same time. You're like maybe he's not getting the big push. A great debut at the Royal Rumble, but it's like maybe he's not getting the push. But at first, I thought because of the Gorilla Monsoon stuff that they were going to, like, because they never put your hands on the official guy kind of thing, but they definitely start. I know it just started to lose steam. I know eventually he starts feuding with Shawn Michaels, and that's really where it gets halted. Because as he's starting to build up, he gets a pinfall victory at International Incident over Michaels, and he's starting to build up towards the title. But as soon as SummerSlam '96 hits, apparently stiff Michaels a little too much in the ring. Apparently didn't clean his tights, and they smelled, or whatever Michaels said. This guy stinks, or whatever. He screwed up a move in one of the match where he didn't move out of the way. I don't know if you remember this. He comes off the top rope, SummerSlam '96, and Michaels comes down, and Vader didn't move out of the way. So Michaels kicked him out of the head, and he kicked him right in the head. He goes, "You're supposed to move. What are you doing?"
Yeah. And
instead of being but instead of being professional, it's like, okay, the guy missed his spot or missed his cue, whatever. I'm just going to adapt and do something different. Michaels decided to whine and cry and complain and be a baby, and then say that Vader was stiffing him, and then bury him to the back to Vince. And then his planned world title win at Survivor Series '96 doesn't happen, and they put Sid in that spot because of Shawn Michaels. So, and I know he had a little bit of an injury after that, Vader, but still, it's like Michaels, I feel like, derailed it, and Vince just was like, yeah, I was never going to push this guy anyway. All right, we'll just go with Sid. You know what I mean? It didn't work with him there for some reason, but it should have.
And the thing is that the thing that throws me off is that this is like, put it this way, Vader coming to WWE or WWF at the time is nothing but a stepping stone to a Shockmaster entrance. That without the fucking board on the floor. I mean, he walked through the WWE curtain and tripped, and then he became a joke. Because remember, Shockmaster, when he first started, they were like, the Shockmaster. Everybody's, who the fuck is this motherfucker? Until he walked through the fucking the wall and tripped over that board, which wasn't his fault. But still, again, I mean, and the thing is, it was Vader. Vader was a very, again, intimidating person. Like, man, you don't want to fuck with this dude. This is in WCW, because remember, he knocked Ric Flair's tooth out and other stuff.
Awesome match.
And I can't say when his eyeball popped out, like, was it before or
1990 feud with Stan Hansen in 1990 in Japan.
Yeah, so so you said 96. So you want to think like, man, I want to fuck with this guy. This guy just pushed his eyeball back in his fucking head. He's a tough dude. But Shawn Michaels is gonna talk to him like that. Like, I know he
Yeah.
was on the gimmicks and stuff and thought his shit didn't stink. But fuck that, dude. I mean, Vader was supposed to be a badass. I would have definitely went up to him and like, who the fuck are you yelling at, motherfucker? I don't care if he went to Vince crying because he had Vince's dick in his in his hand,
Yeah,
and
but
he knew
also
that he could get away with it.
But also, as you know, in the world of wrestling and politics, bro, it's the same thing. If you had a match with, say, let's say, I don't know, fucking Taz back in ECW in 1999, and you missed a spot, and Taz just went up to you in the ring and went, "You stupid fuck," and just smacked you upside the head.
No,
Would you
that
go
would
up
have not
against-
happened. Smack me because that
No,
would have not
no,
happened. Regardless.
I'm just saying, like,
I'm just saying he could
all right,
call me a stupid son of a bitch, but if once hands get on me, it's on. I would have been, yeah, he would have been the suplex pain. I would
The
have
only
whooped his ass.
the only thing with Vader at this point was, remember, he was in WCW, obviously dominant run, awesome run, perfect way to book him. He's a monster, all this other stuff. Then he got in that backstage fight with Orndorff, and that basically leads to him being fired. So it was like he felt almost like, okay, I don't have a safety net to go back on if I stiff Michaels or if I treat Michaels poorly because he's got all the creative stroke here. If I do that, I have nowhere else to wrestle on the stage because Bischoff's not bringing me back to WCW. He let me come here in the first place because of an issue where I'm beating up a quote unquote official or executive in WCW because he was a road agent, obviously, Orndorff wrestler, but he's really a road agent at this time. So you're technically attacking an executive, or you're getting in a fight with an executive at WCW. So I think he felt almost like, man, if I don't agree and just kind of fall in line with Michaels and his bullshit and the backstage politics here, I'm fucked in the United States. Obviously, you go back to Japan, but I feel like he felt like this was his only way to make some real coin in the United States with WWF. He didn't want to screw that up by getting in a fight with Michaels because I feel like had the WCW thing not happened, who knows? Maybe Vader stiffs the shit out of Michaels, beats him for real, and says, "I'm the champion." How you going to book me now? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they would have played out differently if the WCW stuff didn't happen.
And also, Pierce, the Taz situation, just to go off that a little bit. I mean, Vader had a name. I'm not saying I didn't have a name, but I didn't have a name at the time. So
Right.
of course I would have had to eat it if I fucked up a spot. Vader was already established. So and again, I didn't know his financial status. So remember, when you have financial coin backing you up, you could kind of get away with like, you know what, fuck this, fuck you.
Yep.
Now, if he's broke and he blew his money on lavish cars, women, whatever Vader lifestyle, and he knew he was on the fence, then yeah, I could see him keeping his mouth shut because, like John said, he's trying to make that money and recoup whatever he lost. That's the only thing I think that's possible. But
Plus,
I
they
would
also not lie to you, but they kind of tell you stuff that doesn't necessarily come out true. So he thinks he's going to lose at SummerSlam, but he's going to win, even though technically he won twice. If you remember, he won 2 out of 3, but he won by DQ, he won by countout, and then Michaels finally gets the win at the end. But supposedly he was going to get the rematch at Survivor Series '96 and win the title there. So again, it's like, okay, I'm not going to play too much politics with Michaels right now because I'm supposedly winning the title. So that's another thing too. It's like he didn't want to do that because what if he stiffs him and Vince goes, "Oh, you're not winning the title here now, pal." Had he known he wasn't going to win it anyway, I'm sure he would have, or maybe even thought about it. But I think that played a role too because they kind of teased him that he was going to have the rematch at Survivor Series and win the title at MSG. And obviously, if you remember that crowd, I was there live for it. Michaels was hated. He's the babyface, hated in Madison Square Garden, their number 1 territory. So I think Vader would have got a huge pop. I think him winning would have came out great, just like Sid's did, but wasn't in the cards because Michael screwed him and said he'd rather work with Sid.
It's funny. I remember back in the days, I bought some tickets at Madison Square Garden at the Paramount Theater. It was it was almost like a pavilion of Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And I remember WCW came and performed there because I was in the audience. And Vader was there. But I was always, even sitting in the audience, I was like, man, that's weird that they're here because Vince owns Madison Square Garden. But I guess whatever it was that they were
There's a
able
loophole
to,
that they're allowed to work there, but not allowed to be on the Garden. Yeah.
yeah, and I always remember that. I think they were the first ones that ever did that.
And I think AAA did it as well at some point where they ran the pavilion, whatever the other part of the Garden.
Yeah, it was the Paramount.
Paramount Theater. Yeah.
Yeah, Paramount Theater. I don't know if it's still there anymore, but
Oh yeah,
it's called,
yeah.
It's called
Yeah.
a Paramount.
I forget what it's called now, but I think Glory Kickboxing did something there a few years ago. I mean, they've had shows there where, and I think
Okay.
AAA not that long ago, they ran another show there. So they do shows there, and like, you know, Ricky Gervais or whoever, what big comedian that doesn't necessarily sell at the Garden but still has a name will come in and do the Paramount because it's like 6,000 seats or whatever it is.
Yeah, it was not that big.
Yeah,
Still decent.
yeah, 5,000 or whatever. Yeah, it could I think hold a pretty good night.
But you know, with Vader in WWE or F at the time, like, you know, after that thing with Shawn Michaels, you know, he never really did anything special in WWE, did he? Like,
Well,
you know,
Royal
he
Rumble
kind of
97,
was,
I thought that they were going to give him the push because he beats Undertaker. Remember, it's the first match out. He beats like I like, okay, maybe they're going to get the ball rolling again, and then all of a sudden, Undertaker WrestleMania 13 wins the title from Sid, and Vader and Cactus Jack are in a tag team match. So it's like, all right. And then remember, he was a part of Final Four when they had the Final Four guys going for the title
right.
because of the controversy at Royal Rumble. So you thought, okay, restart Vader. Here we go again. No, nothing. So they teased a little bit at the beginning of 97, and then as 97 rolls on, less of a roll, less of a roll, less of a roll, and then Kane comes in and basically destroys him.
Oh yeah, and then it's like pretty much after there, like, you know, Vader just was looked at like a big teddy bear, really. Like, it was, you know, he didn't look like, you know, to me, I don't remember his run being there of him being a massive threat in any, you know, capability. I remember Kane coming in and just like completely fucking him up. And then it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, he got that sympathy, like you can see from the crowd and from what the audience was. So getting that, but still, like, a big guy like that size getting the living shit beaten out of him, man. Like, that's, you know, that's hard to make a massive comeback. It makes Kane look massive and strong and everything like that. But then, you know, where does Vader go from that?
Right. And even remember Ken Shamrock when Shamrock came in and re-debuted in wrestling, but he really debuted in WWF. Vader was his first opponent. Awesome match too at In Your House.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where, okay, Vader lost and made Shamrock look, you know, really good. But it's like, all right, so now Vader's the guy, like almost like the gatekeeper. You have to beat him, and then you start getting a push. It's like, okay, happened with Shamrock, happened with Kane. Eventually, they do with Mark Henry, and Vader calls himself a fat piece of shit, which is so stupid. Like they basically had him bury himself. Like, that is the worst thing to do. So like but he was like that job guy, not job guy, but like that gatekeeper guy was like, okay, if you beat me, you're getting pushed. And like, I can't see Vader in that role, but for some reason Vince did. It's very bad booking.
But that's the thing about Vince. A lot of big guys that come in, you know, Giant Gonzaga, you know, I'm trying to think of other big guys that came in that were really massively popular outside of the WWE realm, and then when they walk through the Shockmaster curtain, they get shit on. The only person that still got a good push, but I still didn't understand, was the Great Khali with his fucking bad knees that look like a fucking
I think they were trying to break into the Indian market.
But that's the thing. It's not like he was the end all be all of you know, there's a lot of other talented wrestlers out there that they could have. I mean, I'm using Jinder Mahal as an example. I mean, I know he's not one of the big guys, but once he reinvented himself, I mean, that would have been the face of India. You know, I mean, there was just so
and
many.
he looks like $1 million too.
Yeah, there was a lot of other people.
Khali could barely walk. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
He reminded me of that movie with oh my god,
Adam Sandler, the American.
No, it was a horror movie from outer space, and their knees buckled backwards. It was Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen was in it. It was a 90s movie, but you know, their knees went backwards. They look like it's a movie, but it was with their knees, they just went bent backwards. That's all it was. It just reminded me of Great Khali. But yeah, like I said, Big Show got a good push. You know, but I don't know. I mean, any other big guy that I remember did not get the same treatment like a Big Show or stuff like that. One of the big men, you know.
Even Big Show, though, remember they kind of treated him poorly too. Like his first match, he loses to Austin. I know it's a big match, but you just throw it out on Raw and have him lose like already. Like, what the hell? Like, that could have been built up as this big thing. He could have been Vince's bodyguard and he, you know, the secret weapon to destroy Austin. They blew that. Remember, they sent him back to OVW in like 2002. It's like, what the hell? Like, OVW, this guy was WCW champion in '95. Like, what do you like? I don't know. If it's not a WWF guy, Vince fucks them.
But you
not
know what?
really, Tom, because they had problems like with his weight back then as well, because he ballooned out massively, and they said you need to get in better shape. Like they were at the stage. It was the same thing that they did with Yokozuna. His weight started to balloon out. They said, "Hey, you got to get in shape." They threatened to fire Big Show. I heard at one stage because of his weight was getting so bad. They were like, it was a liability to him.
He had a guaranteed contract though, which is pretty rare. Not that rare at that point, but I know he had a guaranteed contract, so you ain't firing him. But I know what you mean. Get in shape, or we'll probably get rid of you. Just the tease of it would they enforce that.
Well, and the other thing is that, I mean, there's so many people that are big stars, heavyweight champions, and you come into WWE, regardless, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, going to NXT, James Storm debuted in NXT for one day or whatever.
Yeah.
I think, who was the only one that went straight from the Indies straight to WWE? Was it
AJ never went to NXT.
Yeah, that's it. It was AJ. My bad. Yeah, it was AJ that came straight into the Royal Rumble without any going to NXT. Why? You know what I mean? Like, everybody else had to go to NXT to get revamped, to go through. Yeah, to go through the like, it was like the rite of passage to come into WWE or something like that. You have to go through NXT. I don't care what you have done in your career. That shit would have not happened back in the 90s if there was another.
Could you imagine them sending Jericho to NXT in 1998, 99?
Oh,
I mean, if the pay is the same, it doesn't matter. Unless your ego is like, man, I would look at it from a paycheck perspective. But if it's shit money and they say, well, let's see how you do in NXT and then transition over, and I was a big star, I'd be like, you know what? Nah, I go to Mexico. I'll go to Japan. But it depends.
Well, look at Vader. Look at Vader though. Like, before he comes in, I know Vince doesn't really follow it, but I think a lot of the wrestling fans knew, like, okay, this guy was champion. If you're a real big fan, he's champion in CWA in Europe. He's champion UWA in Mexico. He's champion WWE. So he's holding 3 world titles at one time. So people are taking notice of him. And then WWF brings him in and almost like doesn't know what to do with him. He was almost just going to be like, oh, he's going to be champion, but then he never wins the title. Like, they don't know what to do with him. And I don't know, he just kind of flounders there when he's a guy that seems like a can't miss talent for me. I don't know. To me, I was like, man, this can't miss. How do you screw this up? It's like when Lesnar came in 2002, or like Braun Breaker. Now I was like, yeah, you can't screw this guy up. This guy he's just an awesome wrestler, but they somehow screwed it up.
But look at the okay, Pierce.
I was just gonna say, you think they're so white, like these guys can be so white hot. Vader comes in. When I look at Vader's WWE run, the thing I take away from it the most, and what I get as a feeling from it when I rewatch that run, is they just didn't know how to book him. And you put in the heat with Shawn Michaels and the bullshit there as well, and him burying, and Michaels burying him to Vince. You know what I mean? Like, that's just basically probably the final nail in the coffin, bro. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think they didn't know how to book him. That's bullshit, because the fact is that WWE has the people behind Vince to do that job. Because look at it like this: I never drove a Ferrari, but I seen some videos to know how to fucking use it. And stuff like that. Look at Van Vader back in 1990 when he made his debut in the Great American Bash. You remember that, John, right? When he walked down the aisle with the fucking football, the shoulder pads. Yep. They had a lot of people out there in WWE's office to be like, yo, dude, this guy, his entrance, you should have seen him in the Great American Bash. You should have seen him in Japan. So they can't say didn't know what to do with him. But again, there's a lot of guys that come to WWE and like, Ricochet, perfect example. There's so much footage of this motherfucker. You can't say you don't know how to use him. You have the fucking manual of fucking how to use this fucking this person, step by step. So you can't say that. He has people behind him that handles that stuff.
I feel like they humble you, quote unquote, humble you on purpose. Like when you come in, like, oh, I don't care what you did someplace else. Like Vince in that interview just recently with Pat McAfee, he was saying like, oh, anybody could be a wrestler. You can be a good wrestler, you can be a bad wrestler, but if you're a WWE superstar, that's a step above. So it's almost like, well, Vader was, in Japan being a god. I don't care. Oh, he was awesome in WCW, champion for almost a year, had this epic feud with Sting, had these great matches with Cactus Jack and Ric Flair and Stan Hansen, all these guys, just over and over, all these great matches. But he was never a WWE superstar, pal. Like, I feel like that's a part of it. Like, you have to have been there and paid your dues, quote unquote, to Vince, or he'll humble you. I feel like the only guy that really went there and like almost immediately they did something with him was Flair. You know what I mean? Back in '92, even AJ Styles had said, he goes, I wasn't supposed to be on that Mania, the first Mania that he was on. He goes, I wasn't even supposed to be on Raw the next night. They had to like convince him like of who I was. So it almost seems like you have to have somebody backstage in your corner pushing for you because Vince doesn't really notice. Like, Vince probably like, who the hell's Ricochet, pal? Oh, he does a lot of crazy moves. Like last night doing some 730 or whatever the hell, that insane flip. And you see it in slow motion. You're like, how the hell does this guy, like, that is amazing what this guy can do. Vince probably like, never seen this guy before. He's not a WWE superstar until I say he is. You know what I mean? I feel like there's some sort of humbling going on that shouldn't be there.
And that's the thing, man. I mean, and again, I'm not jumping on the Ricochet bandwagon, but when you see something like that, you're like, man, like, it's like, wow, I could really do something with this. You know what I mean? Once you get the tool and you're like, man, this is awesome. But he never sees that. You know,
It's weird.
he, like I say, he's in his own world. It doesn't exist unless Vince, he's like that. You know what's funny? Vince reminds me of that FedEx commercial. You ever remember that old FedEx commercial when the guy's sitting in the board meeting and they're like, we need to come up with some ideas about this. And he goes, hey, boss, I got a great idea. We should do this, and that. And he goes, no, that's bullshit. Let's ponder. I got an idea. And he fucking like redoes it, and he goes, but that's what I said. No, but I did this motion. You know, you did this, but I did this. So it changes the whole fucking concept. That's Vince. You could fucking bring anything up, and he goes, that's bullshit. And then 10 minutes later, I got an idea. You know, that's great, boss. I never thought of that. You know, that's the problem with Vince. And I'm not knocking him. It's his company. Do what you want.
But, you know, like, that's the thing. Is that what the case was with Vader? Because it's like, as I said, you reckon it's bullshit they didn't know how to book him, but look at WWE. They don't know how to book a lot of talent, man. There's some people who go in there, look at EC3, for example. They had that motherfucker over there twice. And I mean, he left, got over, became an established performer somewhere else, came back with the over gimmick, and they still couldn't fucking book him right.
Sometimes Vince, I don't think it's weird. Sometimes he just doesn't get it. Even Foley, you know what I mean? Like, you would think in your head, like, okay, no brainer. Like, this guy's a star. Like, and he just, for some reason, just didn't see it. And Undertaker is like, man, kind of not floundering, but he's just kind of going along in '96. He's not, I don't know. It's weird. He's not like great. He's not like the Undertaker from a few years ago. He's kind of floundering. All of a sudden Foley comes in and he knows it right away. He's like, man, this guy reinvigorated my career. He like reinvented me. This feud has kind of got me going again. It's got me over. And then obviously led him to the title, but it's funny. Like, it almost takes like Undertaker or somebody in the back or JR, somebody really pushing the guy to Vince. Sometimes he could be right in front of his face and he still doesn't see it. Like, he almost didn't know what he had with Steve Austin. And had it not been for him getting so over, for Bret Hart really pushing for him, who knows what would have happened with Austin. I just don't know if maybe Vader got that push in the back, or the fact that Shawn Michaels was burying him so much. It just worked in reverse. And Vince was like, yeah, you're right, Shawn. Yeah. You're right. He isn't that good. Or, oh, yeah. He is stiffing guys or whatever. So it's just crazy to think that Vince just doesn't get it. And I'm just a fan, and I could see better than he can.
But think about it like this. I mean, look at Barry Windham, man. I mean, the guy is a legend, and then he comes into WWF as the Widowmaker, and then he came in as what was the one with the war paint?
Stalker.
The Stalker. This is fucking Barry fucking Windham, and he's coming out with the Stalker. Like, Vince doesn't see shit. I still don't understand. I can't wrap my brain how Vince thinks. That's the problem. Everybody says he's batshit crazy, but he's a crazy genius. That's the weird thing. He's like a mad scientist that's a genius but crazy. The guy doesn't sleep.
You feel like it's always the guys around. He always had good guys around him, almost to get him back. Like JR, obviously key, Pat Patterson, Michael Hayes. He always had guys around him that could maybe get him like thinking straight, because sometimes, I don't know, sometimes he seems like he's off the wall with like, how do you not see the talent in this guy? How do you not know who AJ Styles is? How do you not think that Steve Austin is great? But then as soon as The Rock debuts, he starts getting a push. I know Survivor Series '96 is immediately get a push, but it was like, okay, he beats everybody to get the win. Like, how come he sees it with some guys and then some guys he doesn't? Like, he was really big on Roman Reigns for a while, even before the crowd got behind Roman Reigns. Vince was saying he's the guy. He ended up being 100% accurate, 100% right. Reigns is the guy. So you're right. He's like a mad genius.
John, let me interrupt you there. Yeah. Are you questioning what someone saw in The Rock.
Well,
like I'm sorry, like let's stop right there. Like, come on, man.
no, but he pushed him pretty good right away. I'm saying like he saw The Rock. For some reason, he didn't see Steve Austin. It was weird. Like you never know with Vince.
Hey, come on, man. I mean, and Pierce, you're making it seem like it's like, oh, you didn't see, you seen The Rock as The Rock now, but at the time, Rocky Maivia was the drizzling shits because I was there. That was Johnny Rodz' induction ceremony at the Madison Square Garden for the Hall of Fame, and I was there, and we were sitting in the audience, free tickets, and we saw fucking Rocky Maivia come in, and we're like, who the fuck is this motherfucker with the the Saba Simba outfit? I mean, you can't say. That's the thing. People see people now. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. I mean, but when you see them when they first start and they're the drizzling shits, or not saying the drizzling shits, you just don't see it because it's like, because The Rock had to reinvent himself. He's the one that came up with those ideas. And that's when Vince is like, that's interesting, But if you don't remember, Vince loves alpha males. You take the ball and run with it. If you don't take the ball and run with him to show him that you can do something with it, he would never acknowledge you. Once you do something like that, I see there's something in this kid. Then he sees something. He has a creative mind, and then he pushes you. Depends.
I wish Vader asserted himself to Vince. You know what I mean? Like, hey, screw Michaels. You guys talking shit to me or whatever. Like, really just, I don't know, be more aggressive. But I think he was a little bit timid because of the WCW backstage stuff with Orndorff.
From what I heard as well, like I heard like he was actually like a bit of a big teddy bear backstage. Like he was a very like nice, very sweethearted sort of guy backstage. Like he wasn't, into
I talked to Sting and Mick Foley. They loved him. They said big teddy bear, nicest guy. Like they absolutely love him. But I guess if you're on his wrong side or his bad side, I mean, you're a 400-pound guy traveling the world. I'm sure you have some injuries and you're probably ornery and you probably, you know what I mean? Like you're probably not as comfortable and you probably don't fit in the seats as good. I mean, you're a monstrous guy. Life isn't going to be as comfortable as this for some of the smaller guys and maybe guys that aren't, taking these big risks and these big moves. So I feel like, and had prior knee injury, former football player, knee injury. So I'm sure a lot of stuff is probably building up in him. He's maybe bigger than he should be physically. So, I mean, he's probably a little bit more ornery. Like, obviously, he stiffs some guys. I know people don't like that, but, maybe he takes out some of his aggressions in the ring or he's a little cranky or whatever. But a lot of the guys said backstage, like Sting and Foley said, he's a big teddy bear.
Yeah, man. I mean, I would love to be on the wrong side of Vader. I would have been like, you know what? It's on, man. Hold on a second. And open my briefcase, pull out some shower shoes. Hey, what the fuck is that? He goes, oh, because an ass whipping's coming. Let me put on my shower shoes.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, with that, and it's funny that because I talked to Kevin Sullivan, who was right there when it happened, and so many people, Brian Blair told me this too. People are like, oh, well, Orndorff's so much smaller than Vader. How did he beat him up? But at first,
because Vader's a brawler. I mean, Orndorff was a fucking
at first,
street fighter.
Vader got the upper hand, and then basically Orndorff snapped or whatever. But Orndorff legit known as one of the toughest guys ever. Like, former football player, like street fighter. Like and they said if he would snap, like he could beat up anybody. He could just kill you. Hogan knew it too, because if you remember those matches, he would stiff Hogan a bit in some of those matches. Hogan knows he's not going to do anything back. It's fucking Orndorff. Even though he's smaller, quote unquote, he's going to kill you. So people always like, oh, how did Orndorff do that? Orndorff could probably beat up anybody, maybe outside of Haku. You know what I mean? Like he's one of the most toughest guys.
Well, and the thing is that Vader sucker punched him when they were arguing, chipping his teeth. He sucker punched him. It's not like he did have the upper hand because he sucker punched him, and that's when he fucking snapped. And remember,
Sullivan said it wasn't even a punch; it was like a disrespectful. But he's got a freaking bear claw as a hand, so his slap is a punch.
Yeah,
bitch slapped Orndorff. Yeah.
And we did a episode on Orndorff where before wrestling, he was doing fucking bare knuckle fighting in the fucking back of those gyms in those days. So yeah, the guy was a legit badass. So the ass whooping, and the worst part, the shower shoes didn't make it any better. Being naked, getting your ass whooped with a guy in shower shoes, being naked, kind of stepped it up to the next level, And I guess,
but I don't know if Vader realized like shit. This guy is like not somebody to bully, not somebody tough. Because Sullivan, who's pretty damn tough himself, said he would never fight Orndorff, and he's nuts, or perceived to be nuts or a little goofy. Like he could take a beating. He said he would never fight Orndorff because there's some guys that have that like third or fourth gear that when they snap, there's like no coming back, and you're like almost afraid of what the guy might do, like a Haku where he's gonna rip your nose off or rip your eyes out of your skull or something. He's like I would never mess with Orndorff because he had that like extra gear where it's like, I don't care if he's naked in shower shoes or whatever. Like he'll snap and like you don't know what he's gonna do. He's unpredictable. Like he's tough as nails.
Let me ask you a question, John. What do you think of the match during May 16th of 1992, Nikita Koloff Day, when he came out with Dusty Rhodes to face Vader? What did you think of that match? I thought it was a good match.
Very good. There's so many good matches. That one's good. I like the Nikita match. Although that one's kind of, I don't know. That one is not as memorable, I guess, as like the Sting feud in '92 and all the matches. Like Great American Bash '92 is awesome. And I know Sting hits his head on the steel when he goes for the Stinger Splash. He misses his head on the post, but he basically beats Sting straight up. I mean, there's no cheating involved at all. He just beats him, power bombs him, beats him, folds him up. So that Nikita Koloff was kind of the precursor. And then in July of '92, Great American Bash, when he wins the title from Sting, that's kind of like building him up and like, oh shit, like he's going to the moon here. I know he loses to Ron Simmons, and that's epic, but that was awesome. But
oh yeah, that was definitely epic.
And then he goes to Starrcade '92, has another awesome match with Sting. So I feel like '92 was like his coming out party.
And so, what did you think? Like, did you think having Harley Race in his corner complimented him? What did you think Harley Race thought about him at the time? I don't remember any interviews of Harley Race, like, not saying burying him, putting him over, just his thoughts of why he was with Vader.
So I thought it was a
perfect mix. So in reality,
yeah, I think so. But
in reality, Race was his manager in front of the screen, and behind the screen, he was in charge of handling him. Vader, you know, obviously he was a big star. He's a former NFL player. He was drafted in the draft, 3rd round for the Rams. He has an NFC Championship ring. I know that he was injured and didn't really play, but still, he was a former NFL guy. So, you know, not to say he's cocky, but, you know, he's got a level of confidence where you're like, okay, I'm a former NFL guy. I was in Japan. They turned me into a big star. I'm destroying Inoki. Like, I'm having great matches with Great Muta. And I'm like really Keiji Muto, but I'm building myself up. I'm a huge star internationally. So when I get to WCW, I want to be treated as such. And they're giving him a big push. You need somebody to kind of say, okay, Vader, let's not beat up guys at bars. Let's not pick on guys, or let's not drink too much. Like we're investing in you. You're a little unpredictable. Not to say he did anything bad or anything different than anybody else, but I felt like they wanted to get a handle on him because he was going to be a big star, and they wanted to almost like not control him, but like let's make sure that like he doesn't go off the rails. Let's make sure like our next guy is under our control. Hey Harley, can you watch this guy? And Vader said he respected Harley Race more than anybody. Not that he feared him. He knew Harley Race was so tough and he wouldn't back down. Not that they're going to fight, but he's not going to back down and say Vader did something wrong or Vader needs to be taught a lesson. Not really taught a lesson, but like it taught the proper way, or you're not doing something the right way, either in front of the screen or behind the screen. I feel like Harley Race is like the perfect guy and the perfect mentor, where Vader respected him so much that even if he was like, hey, cut the shit, Vader would be like, yes, sir, Mr. Race. Like he always called him Mr. Race. You know what I mean? There was a respect factor there. So in front of the screen and behind the screen, Race was the perfect compliment to him, I think.
Okay.
Do you think that with Harley, like, you know, you said the Harley Race as being his like protector and keeping him straight, not getting into bar fights and stuff like that. Do you think when he was in WWE, he didn't have anyone looking out for him and he was doing some of this stupid shit? And that was also part of the reason where they looked at it going, fuck, this guy's just too off the chain to really fucking invest in at a main event level.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, you got to think too. It's like, okay, I'm Vader, 3-time champion for All Japan, the Triple Crown. I'm a 3-time WCW champion. I'm or really 3-time IWGP World Champion. I might have, I think it was only 2-time Triple Crown. But anyway, like I'm this big star. Like I expect at this level, and I don't care how. Not that he doesn't care how he acts, but it's one of those things where you walk in like, I'm Vader. Hello, where's my push? Like, if I was him, that's what I would be expecting. Like, I'm a pretty big international star. I'm a pretty big deal. I made my name for myself in the States. You know, I'm beating Ric Flair, you know, or I'm wrestling Ric Flair. I'm having feuds with Sting. Like, I kind of am pretty important. I had a feud with Hulk Hogan in WCW. And technically, I know it didn't really go his way, but he didn't really look bad in that feud. He really didn't lose. The only time he really lost with Hogan was a cage match. If you remember, they had a match with him and Hogan where somehow Flair got pinned, and Flair wasn't even in the match. Like, it made no sense, but they was just going out of their way to make Vader look good. So he had this big feud with Hogan. He's wrestling Savage. I mean, he is a big-time guy, and it's one of those things where it's like, dude, how is this not relating to WWF? I was also in the big time. I know WWE maybe you could say was a little bit down, but Hogan was in there and he's feuding with Hogan. It's like, I think he expected more, and not to say he was cocky or anything, but he should have been. You know what I mean? He's Vader.
Well, just curiosity. Now, we're talking. Just curious. Now, after the WWE run, I remember he made an appearance. I think in like 2003 and also in 2015 in TNA. And why you don't think he? I know he was doing something. I think it was in 2003, doing something with Dusty Rhodes and the brothers. I can't
LOD
remember.
and
No,
the Harris brothers.
it was the Harris brothers? And then he came back, and I think he wrestled Bram. I can't remember, Bram, I think it was at the time, and won via disqualification. But they never. I mean, they never really used him in TNA from the 2013, the 2003, and the 2015 version. I'm surprised he didn't make a run in that company at the time, especially that money was flowing pretty well. I mean, in 15.
I don't know,
In
TNA
2000, a Vader in 2015. Like, how old was he back then? Like 60s.
60, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, would you?
But
I
in
don't know,
03,
would
in
he
Okay.
even-
So what you're saying? So how was? I mean, Ric Flair was still wrestling at
No,
60,
but I'm
60.
saying, like, it's at 60. Would he want, like, at his age at the time in 2015? Would he want a full-time wrestling gig?
Oh, I don't know, but I mean, I'm just curiosity why didn't I mean, there's a lot of aspects of why he didn't do it. I'm just thinking out
Yeah.
of since we haven't had a conversation with him, I wonder why he didn't get a good run. I know he had knee replacement. I know but again, he didn't have that issue until I can't even remember when he had that issue because I know he died in 2018, but um I can't remember his knee surgery, but I know he had knee replacement, but I can't recall. But I know he wasn't the same, but still, it's Vader. I mean, Jimmy Valiant, is older than dirt, still wrestling. Ricky Morton. How old is Ricky Morton now?
63, I think.
There you go. So, and he's still doing those fucking, the Canadian destroyer move and shit like that at 63. So,
But
I
even
mean,
in 03, TNA was weird. It's like they only brought in guys for a small amount of time. Like, remember they would bring like Surprise
Yeah.
every week or every other week. So I feel like Vader was never destined to have a long run there just because they just were bringing in surprise guys and the guy would be gone. And it was like always like, okay, who's the next surprise going to be? The booking wasn't like set up long term. It was almost like week to week. Like, how can we get surprises in here for maybe 2 weeks at a time?
Plus, I don't think Vader would have really suited TNA. Like, his style and
No. But
Yeah.
if you think about it, okay, he's in WWF and it didn't work out there at all. It wasn't good. I actually, if you go back Royal Rumble 98, I love him versus Goldust, one of the first matches on the card. He does a Vader bomb. Goldust and Luna Vachon are on his back. So Luna, almost just like a scorpion, like that weird, like, where you almost like break your back, the way they go down, she goes flying off. And like, that was like the last good memory of him. But he goes to Japan. He goes to Pro Wrestling Noah after that. And he still got it. So you're like, shit. It was the booking. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he still had it. Maybe he wasn't motivated, but him and Scorp win the your buddy Scorpio win the tag titles over there. Like, and he did this little stuff in All Japan, but you're looking, you're like, shit, he still got it. Damn it,
Oh, yeah.
WWF screwed him. It made me think that they screwed him even more after that.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, Scorpio and him and that tag team was awesome. I mean, to this day, Scorpio is.
Oh man, what a freak of nature!
Yeah, he's a freak of nature. I love Scorpio. I'm still shocked of what he did. My favorite moment. You know why I love Scorpio? Because he knocked out C.W. Anderson in the ring with his fucking Scorpio. Knocked him the fuck out, bro. I still make fun of him when I got back from that trip. I was like, hey, how's your head doing, man? You still remember Scorpio? You wrestled him, right? So I just give him shit.
He's probably like, what match was that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing about Scorpio, man. He's strong style, man, and you have to. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying CW wasn't protecting himself, but you could get knocked the fuck out. I love Scorpio, good dude, But Vader, like I said, the guy was phenomenal. I mean, the weird thing about him is that he had that heart condition. He didn't. I mean, I know he died of pneumonia. I mean, he was in the hospital trying to recoup from that after his surgery. I think he died in 2018. So the surgery was around March, I think it was, because he died in June, I think. And what was I'm just curious what caused his heart condition. I mean, I know he was a very heavy drinker and he stopped doing that. But what was the factor? Was it a hereditary thing? Was it the years of on the road or abuse of drugs? What do you think?
I don't know for sure, but I know he had a heart condition. I mean, he's 400-pound guy traveling the world nonstop, under pressure, wrestling. I mean, it doesn't seem like a good recipe to be that big for that long and be on the road for that long and traveling back and forth to Japan. It just seemed like a bad recipe for his heart. And I interviewed him about a year before he had passed. Awesome interview. It's in my archives. I mean, just great stuff from Vader. Awesome to be able to get him on
If
for that long.
If you want to check it out, Pierce, you could go on TMZ.com. It's in the library.
Yeah,
No, it's not
thanks.
TMZ,
Thanks, Hank.
but he did say, which was crazy at the time, and I was shocked. He said that he had a heart issue. He wishes he never mentioned it because remember he had that little mini feud with Will Ospreay. I don't know if you remember that. And they had a match in England, and they were kind of going back. It was a little bit of a work shoot, but they were kind of going back and forth. And Vader ended up wrestling him, but everyone was saying that he had heart issues, and because he made it known. And he said he wished he didn't make it known because he wouldn't have cared if he died in the ring. I was like, "Ooh, that was like really
That's
like took me back." I was like, "Whoa."
Well, you got to look at it
Crazy.
like this. Even Ric Flair mentioned at one time he would like to die in the ring. You
Yeah.
know, hey, if you're gonna die, I mean, nobody wants to die. Don't get me wrong, but if you're an athlete and that's what you love, and you go, man, you know, if I'm gonna go out, fuck, let me die doing what I love. You know, boxing, football. I mean, it's scary and it's weird from a fan's perspective. Like if you're sitting on the other side of the fence, like, wow, that's weird. But when you have that passion in your heart, look at Ric Flair when he cried at the All Access when he goes, and I still remember the line, when you love something so much and you can't do it anymore, it kills you. Those are the key, you know, I mean, that's a lot of wrestlers, you know,
Yeah.
any athlete, you know, you're the king of the king, you know, Muhammad Ali, you know, Joe Namath, fucking Joe Montana, you know, all the greats, you know, it probably eats at you that you can't. I mean, you can still throw the pigskin. The pigskin is the football, Pierce, just to let you know. And maybe you didn't. He might not know, you know. Australia,
Oh, he knows. He knows.
but I'm just saying, you can still throw it, but you still. You know, you look, I still feel the same. I still feel like I could still run the 100-yard dash, but then, you know, it just when your body doesn't, your mind tells you you're okay, but your body doesn't say you're okay. That's just it's scary, you know, and stuff.
Way too soon. Died way too soon. I'm 63. I mean, to me, way too young. I wish he was a member of the WWE Hall of Fame when he was alive because he was really making a push for it. Remember he inducted Stan Hansen? That was the time that he should have been inducted too. Like he should have went in that same year or even before that. It's insane. It's like, how the hell is Vader of all people not in the Hall of Fame? It's like now they put him in and he passed away 4 years ago. So it's like, man, he would have loved to have been in when he was alive. He mentioned it. He wanted to be in when he was alive.
Yeah,
So
he
I
did
hate
a
when
big
that
push
happened.
for it when he was like, because he knew his time was numbered, his days were numbered, and he was
Yeah.
pushing for it as
Yeah.
well. And it's just, I think even Mick Foley even did a push for it.
Yes, his buddy. Yeah, big time.
Yeah, I think, and you know, like Mick Foley made a push. You'd think that he hit, you know, how close he is to, you know,
Yeah.
over WWE that he could have got it done. But it's, you know, I think it's definitely a tragedy, man. Definitely 63 years of age going way too soon. You know, Vader as a performer, man. I think
No,
you know,
I don't think that's a tragedy. I think it's more of a because I mean he didn't die in a car accident. He did what he loved. I mean, he just had a heart condition. I mean, I just say, yeah, he died too soon, but that was just something that was not in his control. You know, he couldn't do anything. He tried to do something, but it was just the fate, the cards that was laid for him. You know, I don't think it was a tragedy. I just think it was a sad situation. You know, he was an overdose. He didn't die of a car crash. He didn't shoot himself. I just think it was just how the cards were laid.
but then you know, it's what's interesting is his son actually got signed to WWE and wrestled in NXT for a period of time, and his son, who was his son? His son got engaged or was married to someone.
JoJo Offerman. I mean, let's just be honest, throw it out there. She cheated on him with Bray Wyatt, and now she married Bray Wyatt. So they were almost. I think they were almost engaged or engaged at one point. Jesse White is his name, but Jay Carter was his name in NXT.
See,
she cheated on him for Bray, and I mean,
you know,
not to be like a gossip, but let's be honest. I mean, she
left
him for Bray. I guess you could say.
The problem in this business, and I said it many times, people who do things like that deserve what they get because you don't shit where you eat. You don't build a relationship in the professional wrestling business because God forbid the shit went sideways. Then you have to see that regardless of who he or she, you have to see him with another dude or chick, and it's going to eat at you and it's going to fuck with you. That's why you don't shit where you eat, fuck all the fat rats you want, fuck all the female things, you know, do have your relationship outside of the wrestling business, but you don't bring that inside your professional world. And I don't have no sympathy for guys who are in tears, like, you know, Matt Hardy. I'm sorry, brother. But again, you made your bet. You know, these are the people that you look at. Stone Cold and Deborah Michaels.
Deborah
Yeah, man. I
Michaels.
mean, look, man. You know, it's just you don't. It's not beneficial. I don't care how how good the pussy is, bro. It's like fresh rolls out of an oven.
And
Out
his
of
son,
you know.
his son, I've talked to him before, really nice guy, and he's
Yeah.
he's successful outside of the business.
What's he
So,
doing?
he was doing some like pharmaceutical stuff and like
Gimmicks.
sales stuff. Oh, I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, he had the
Gimmicks.
boys. He's like, hey,
You're like, oh my god,
guys."
where is he? Yeah. So
Yeah, he's
I
selling
know
pharmaceuticals,
he was
like-
doing some sales stuff. Yeah.
You hear that?
Gimmicks.
You know who else?
Gimmicks.
Making pictures.
Your boy Joey Styles in the pharmacy industry, the pharma industry. I bet
What's
you
he-
didn't know that.
Yeah, he's in the marketing thing. I think you told me that before.
Marketing and sales, yeah, for a big pharma company, yeah. So gimmicks, there you go, gimmicks.
That's a weird
Well,
thing
guys-
how it works out.
Well, guys, wrap up. Let's go around the table. Final thoughts of Big Van Vader. Angel, you want to take it away to start off?
Yeah, I mean, I think of Vader, like I said, I'm a big Van Vader fan from back in the 90s of the Starcades, and but I mean, to me, his WWE run was horrible. They didn't use him right. I mean, his career was, he had a great career, man. He had a great career. He had a lot of memorable moments. He was heavyweight champion. The guy made a shit ton of money. I mean, it's great that we did this episode. I just don't see the tragedy in his life because the guy's been to the top, and the only thing is that he had that heart condition. Like I said, he's a great athlete. I'm happy that he got into the Hall of Fame. Hopefully they don't use some shitty ass clips from WWE and just more focus on his career in Japan and all the other stuff to put him over, but not no comedy shit and say I'm a fat piece of shit, at the end, at the final clip, of the Hall of Fame. I just hope he gets the respect that he deserves because, again, he was one of the elite big men of this business, and he deserves at least to be put on a high pedestal compared to other guys.
Sucks that, first of all, that he died way too soon. Second of all, it sucks that he's inducted in the Hall of Fame when he is passed away, so posthumously inducted, because he wanted to be in when he was alive, and I think he deserved that honor when he was in, so that stinks. But to me, best big man of all time, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Go back and watch his matches with Hanson, Flair, Cactus Jack. My favorite feud of all time might be him versus Sting. They had so many damn good matches, just unbelievable stuff, just awesome. And I feel like one of the best wrestling characters of all time. Like if somebody said to you wrestling is fake, oh yeah, watch this fucking guy. Tell me how fake it is, or get in the ring with this guy. Tell me how fake it is. Like I love Vader, huge Vader mark.
I think as well, we didn't even get into the Q8 interview.
Oh my god,
where he flipped out there. But again, Big Van Vader, one of the
one when he was in the Indian
Kuwait.
dude, with
with
him and Undertaker, and Undertaker was just
yeah.
sitting there. Yeah, we could have went over that, but Randy Orton did the same shit. So.
Do you know that
True.
like the rumor is, or the story is, that they basically were like, let's tease him and pretend, because they jailed him and stuff, like Vince was like, haha, let's rib him and let's pretend we're not going to get him out, like, which is insane because you're in a foreign country in jail, you have no idea what's going to go on. That's
100%.
another reason why he was kind of nervous about politics, because he thought he might get fired, he thought he might get in trouble, because Vince is not letting him out of jail. He thinks he's in trouble, and Vince is almost doing it. And Vince is almost doing it as a rib. So,
but
crazy.
I think Vader is one of the best big men of all time. I agree with you on that, John. I think it's just unfortunate he didn't get a decent run in WWF at the time. Again, man, I think that if the world was aligned differently and he would have got a title run in WWF, in that 96, 97 era. Again, that wasn't really the prime time to be a champion in WWF, and the numbers, the viewership wasn't really there. Still, to be made a champion in WWF is nothing to put your nose up at. But I think Van Vader, at the end of the day, his career over in Japan, the stuff that he did in WCW. But for me, I think the work that he did with Harley Race has got to be my favorite of all time of his. But 63 years of age, way too young to go.
I agree.
Sure.
I'm with you there, Pierce. Should have been champion. Should have been WWF champion.
Could have, would have, should have.
All right, Angel, you want to wrap us up, brother?
Oh, sure. Everyone, man, thanks for another great episode. Thank you for doing the Vader episode with us. But again, to all you fans out there on Wrestling with Treasure, we do appreciate the support. This is episode 100. There's more to come. Please stand by, and we'll catch you guys later. I'm still half asleep, so sorry for the little foobarb here, but Pierce, let's get out of here.
We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.